Welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abbie Richie. I'm the founder of Senior Savvy, which helps older adults at your communities with their technology. I'm here every Tuesday interviewing people who are engaged in the age tech innovation space where it is impacting your residents. So today, before we get started, let's go ahead and run our intro. Welcome back. I want to go ahead and invite my guests on today. I've got Heather Easterling from Sunrise Senior Living, and I have Kelly Stromberg, who is helping us coordinate the Evolve 2023 conference. Welcome, gals, to Tech Tuesday.
Hey, Abbie.
Hi, Abbie. Hi, Kelly.
Hi. Well, first, Heather, could you go ahead and introduce yourself to our viewers? Who are you? Where are you from? And what are you doing in senior living?
Sure. First of all, it's a real pleasure to be here with you guys. I'm Heather Easterling. I'm Senior Director of Engagement and Program Services. I work for Sunrise Senior Living. If you're not familiar with Sunrise Senior Living, we have over 270 communities in the US and Canada. We have 28,000 residents, and we have about 20,000 team members that help to serve them expertly every single day. We offer a full range of services from independent living, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing, rehabilitation, and there's lots of elements that I help to support at Sunrise in regards to engagement and program services.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm excited to hear more about it. And Miss Kelly, welcome back to Tech Tuesday. Once a month, we talk about the upcoming Evolve conference and how that will impact your engaged life directors, your engagement plan. And so today we have Kelly back on the show. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you, Abbie. Always a pleasure to be here with you and our viewers. As a reminder, Evolve 2023. Y'all probably are wondering, we keep hearing about Evolve. If you're not familiar with what Evolve is, it is a virtual conference. It will be coming up in July 11th, 13th, 18th, and 20th to be specific. We spread it out to help make it easier for people to attend in regards to their work commitments. And we really hone in on the needs of a programming, life enrichment, life engagement professional, and how critical that role is to all communities for all operators across our collective space. And this year, we're really excited because we're really drilling down into some critical topics and focus for every single day. We have a wonderful advisory board who's helping steer the direction of Evolve 2023. Heather is a participant in the Evolve 2023 ad board, and everybody who's in that board is bringing such wonderful ideas and topics and recommended speakers to the table. So we are super excited at the Senior Living Foresight team to be putting on another incredible event here in 6-7 months.
Yeah, it'll come up just like that. Heather, I wanted to ask you about the innovation that's happening at Sunrise as it relates to resident engagement.
I love that question. So at the heart of what we do at Sunrise, our mission is to champion the quality of life for all seniors. And of course, technology is going to play an integral role in that. One of the things that we do in our established communities, in addition to our newer development communities, is we lead project pilots, and we involve different teams to help us with that. So it's not just the engagement program services team. It's definitely a collaboration of IT. It's a collaboration of care. It's a collaboration of our ops partners. It really takes a team. So we're piloting all different types of things. We have some established technologies that we've been using for a really long time. One of those things is a calendar platform that is now a family engagement app that that we use. It draws not only data and analytics about engagement, but it also enhances our ability to communicate with family members on the regular, and also for our residents to feel like they're even more connected to their loved ones, whether they live far.
Pardon me, I wanted to ask you, on your team, do you have residents as well?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I would say residents are absolutely on our team. We do have a programming advisory council that helps to support and advise Sunrise Senior Living. And behind that, of course, are the residents that are guiding those programming leaders in our communities across North America. And then for independent living, of course, we have our residents that are highly involved in giving us constant feedback. We're doing some really cool things in our independent living, trying to meet their needs, really listen to them and what they need us to do for them.
Now, I was just in Las Vegas earlier this month at the Consumer Electronics Show, and boy, oh boy, did I see a lot of robots. So are you using any robots in your communities right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Robotic pets are popular in the industry, right? So certainly it's very person-centered. It's something that nothing is ever one size fits all. It's never, every person is going to get this when they move to Sunrise Senior Living. It's what's going to best serve your needs. How can we best serve you? And it also, what's your definition of robot? Does that include, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it could really span across many different things. There's companion robots, there's dining robots, there's utility and delivery robots. So what are you using right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, it's a plethora of things. I would even maybe count transportation as a robot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you think about it from that kind of mechanical standpoint. So yeah, so I would say again, person-centered, robotic pets. We're not currently using like Temi or anything like that. It's those things to me are still being kind of hashed out in the industry. So we're watching, we're eagerly learning and waiting to see how that's panning out in some of our community, in some of other competitors. Yeah.
Can I weigh in on something, Abbie? I think, Heather, you've already dropped some powerful nuggets for our audience today. And I know we're here to talk about technology and different solutions and implementation and adoption, but you hit the nail on the head right out of the gate about how so many people in the Sunrise family collaborate and come together. And you also include residents as part of the decision makers and the drivers for what you offer at Sunrise. And that is part of what we'll be highlighting and sharing even at Evolve is what are really incredible opportunities for collaboration between departments. How can you better serve each other by understanding each other? And so it's such a beautiful example right out of the gate of what you already are doing organically in your organization. Like I know lots of others are, but it still stands to be repeated and emphasized that it gets so critical for many different departments and individuals at a community to come together to really deliver the best experience possible for all pertinent parties, residents, families, staff, even future residents.
Yeah, a lot of what I've heard Heather talk about seems to be in alignment with what LE3 has been presenting. Mm-hmm. So I really like to hear that. But there's always this one part that I do want to talk about. The introduction of technology can be not well received sometimes. And so along that same line, what do you see as the current pros and the cons of introducing new technology in the communities?
I mean, I think that we could talk for days on end about the pros, right? The potential of what technology can do for our communities. Anywhere from the very person-centered approach of, I really miss having a pet. And while we do promote pets at all of our Sunrise communities, maybe they're not able to, support a pet in their suite at that time. So maybe that's when we look to some technology to help support that, for example. So some cons might be, there is no one size fits all, right? Mm-hmm. We cannot think about calendars, even calendars, right? That's technology. it's considered more low tech for sure. So, to me, we can't warehouse our residents. We can't say there's a one size fits all, one social calendar. So how can we better innovate that to make that even more person centered? So to me, that's a pro and a con, being able to provide that kind of tailored person centered care using technology.
Yeah, I feel like there would be a fair amount of staff members who would give you some resistance to introducing new technology because it just seems like more work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that type of adoption and the introduction and using it, I know you talked about piloting things. How does that come into play here?
Yeah, we touched on it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we involve so many different team members, it's a collaborative approach. So our team members are integral into, is this successful for the resident, but is this also successful for our team members? Is it easy to use? Is it intuitive? Is it something that they're going to want to pick up? Is it something that they're going to have fun using?
Yeah.
Right. And if they're having more fun in their jobs, then they're going to, it resonates, trickles down to the family members, to the residents. It provides a really great working atmosphere. So it's definitely key. And I think that in the industry, and I don't know if you guys would agree, but there's definitely this shift from old school activities where, it's the same thing over and over again. And now it's like, you gotta be comfortable with some technology. You have to be comfortable with Microsoft Office Suite. You have to be comfortable with, some apps and using iPads and tablets and things like that. So I think that we're starting to see, folks that are needing to grow maybe in that area. And of course, we're going to foster that. We're going to teach that, and we're going to learn from them. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that my students I've been teaching over the last couple of weeks, and there's been an increase in COVID cases. Maybe a dining room is closed, or things have seemed like they've regressed to a higher level of protection. At this point, they've been through it, so they know how to get online and how to connect and how to make it work for them. That was probably the biggest adoption point of COVID,
Mm-hmm. I would say that was the case for us for sure. Having to, pivot to iPads really quickly. And Sunrise did a great job of, answering that need immediately. How can we connect our family members to our residents during a really horrific time period when we had to restrict that? We had no idea what COVID was and what the dangers would be. And so, it was definitely a fear-based knee-jerk reaction. But I would say it's one of those silver linings that came from COVID.
Absolutely. So I want to now shift the conversation towards Evolve and the upcoming conference and how we plan on talking about technology supporting resident engagement. What do you anticipate, Kelly?
We most certainly had quite a bit of input from our last ad board meeting.
Okay.
And right now we are still in the midst of shaping what that specific day looks like. We have a whole day, not a whole day, but the 4 hours of Evolve. One of the days will be devoted to talking about technology, from a selection process to even an operator or community level readiness process. And even then looking at how do you maximize adoption and utilization of these different tools. And, myself coming from a variety of operators over the years, and same with Heather, I think Heather and I, without even asking her, have probably both experienced what it's like to, implement a new technology and seen it go really well and seen it not go so well. And so what we want to foster through the Evolve event are some strategic approaches to how a lot of people in that life enrichment role, who often are involved with some of the selection process, depending on what that solution is for, and then how can they really maximize, the investment an operator is making based on what that solution is. And Heather and I can both speak to this, but when we think about technology, yes, there are a ton of options in this engagement world, but we see technology across the whole community, from point of sale systems in dining and salons and spas to what people are using for their EMRs and EHRs and clinical. And so I think there's even lessons for us to learn from our colleagues on site of, hey, when you started to use this for your maintenance request, what did you learn? What were hurdles? What were the lessons learned? And I think life enrichment and life engagement, we're seeing more and more tech-based solutions coming to the table and coming to market. But how can we make sure we're making the best decisions for where we each individually work? Heather, is there anything you want to add on based on last week's meeting?
Yeah, I think we do need to keep it real in our communities. We really need to listen from all the different stakeholders, whether it be, the more operational stakeholders, care stakeholders, residents, family members. Again, it has to really resonate. It has to be meaningful to the consumers that are using it. But I do want to add on that, it is important that we make sure that whatever we're doing, we need to get back to basics as well. So what are we currently using? What are the benefits of it? But also asking those questions of how can we be innovative? So finding partners that are willing to innovate with us and to listen to us and the feedback that we are collecting from all of our different stakeholders. It's really important that those tech partners are out there.
Oh, I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that conversation because I work with many different tech companies on refining their solution so it works well for an older adult, and it would just be great to be a fly on the wall for that, because I also work inside senior living communities when I'm going to visit my clients. So anything I can find out about how it's going to be adopted is really helpful. The other thing I want to talk about is memory care. Now, this is a growing segment of senior living. And while the other technology is something you need to, for independent living, is more resident based, what is the difference when it comes to memory care technology?
Yeah, I'd love to tackle that. So one thing that you have to keep in mind is that there is systemic ageism and ableism throughout, right? So I think that the tech sector has been afraid to really tackle memory care in a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. And so I would like to challenge those folks that are in the tech industry to not be afraid of it, to partner with senior living professionals, to partner with engagement professionals, activity professionals, lifestyle professionals, operators, family members. And I think that as the baby boomers start to age, it's going to become a little bit more clear on what's going to be needed. So let me give you an example. It's a very personal example. So I'm a primary caregiver for my father. He has vascular dementia. So, from a very personal standpoint, I'm able to see, as he's in his moderate stage of dementia, he's still able to say, "Hey, Siri, call Heather." He's still able to use technology in that way where I don't have to necessarily get one of the fancy simplified phones that exist out there. I mean, there's a lot of different vendors that are trying to make things more user friendly, right? One of the things that we've tried are, Echo Dots. That way I can just drop in on him, if I need to. He doesn't have to worry about even just picking up his phone to even answer my call. I can just say, "Hey, Dad, I hate to be this, voice coming out of middle of nowhere, but how's your day going? I love you. I miss you," because I travel a lot for work. So it's nice to be able to have those touch points and to get his feedback on what he thinks of it. And so I think that there's certainly applications, and I watch as his brain starts to change through the process of dementia, that, he's still able to really grasp onto technology that he's highly motivated to use. So that remote control is his lifeline. And I know we may not think that that's technology, but it is. It really, it's something that allows him to go in and navigate through apps on his TV. And I can say that he can navigate through apps on his TV better than I can. He knows where things are. He knows all about YouTube. He knows all about all the things. And so we're able to connect like that. So technology should be a connector, right?
Yeah. Especially with the TV, it is usually the largest piece of equipment on a big wall in their home, right? And they're familiar with the TV. Mm-hmm. And so there's more comfort involved.
And certainly we don't always want to promote TV, right? That's not necessarily holistic, but if it's something that a resident really loves, certainly as a recreation therapist by background, there's lots of assessments that and tools that I've learned to use over the years and through schooling. And, if you're doing a leisure assessment, certainly there's going to be certain people that love to watch sports. They're spectators, and the TV is very integral to their personhood and what they want to do. So the TV can help us with that.
Love it. Love it. So vital. And again, focusing on memory care, memory support, how involved do families want to be in that technology?
I mean, as a family member of somebody who's living with dementia, it's so imperative, right? So we definitely have to look at the heart of the usability of it for our seniors, for the team members, but of course also the family members. We think we've kind of touched on it before, but they're what they want, and if a corporation and in the senior living industry is really tapping into family members and our consumers, what they want, what they need to feel connected to the community, to the people that are caring for their loved one, then we're going to innovate. It's naturally and organically going to happen, as Kelly mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I've seen communities that have definitely innovated, and then I've seen other ones that are still sending out paper calendars and paper menus. And I'm just wondering, like, where's the disconnect coming in that situation?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm fortunate to work with Sunrise for almost 14 years. So it's something that I believe Sunrise has done really well in particular. So I can't necessarily speak for the brothers and sisters and good people in the senior living industry in regards to that. But I think it's imperative. If we're going to our mission is to champion the quality of life for all seniors, so not just Sunrise seniors. So if we're going to get it really right here, then maybe other people, in our sister communities, maybe they'll say, oh, you know what, that's really working at Sunrise. Maybe we could try something similar to that. But we're going to keep innovating. We're going to keep looking for, what Paul Clausen, who's one of our founders of Sunrise Senior Living, he very famously said, the best senior living has yet to be invented, and we really do believe that.
You know what, Abbie, I want to add one thing. And Heather, you talked about how important it is to also come back to basics.
Yes.
And I think anytime we can simplify technology and reduce maybe apprehension or fear around it, can add value for everybody. Heather, listening to your personal story, thank you for sharing that, by the way. And really thinking back over the years of different programs that I've implemented, I did this really unique program in memory care. It was a version of personal training. And I did weekly email, like basic technologies we can get.
Yeah.
And now we have all these family apps out of the last few years. But what came out of it, I never anticipated. I just wanted to communicate to the families, we did this many sessions this week. Here's what we covered in this session. Here's how your loved one's doing. What I never anticipated by that timely communication was the learnings by the family members. So then we had family members coming to visit their loved ones and saying, I now have something to do with my loved one other than sit in their room or apartment and stare at each other and watch TV. I now know how to go out into the community, navigate around the community, and do different things with my loved one, simply based on our communication of what they were paying us to do for their loved one. But it just goes back to the impact that technology can bring. If we had done this old school, we're going to send a letter, type it, proof it, mail it, my gosh, nobody would have any timely insights to what is happening with their loved one.
Right.
And I think that speaks to Heather's point of, we still can't forget our basics. And where technology really serves us the most to augment how staff function in the workplace, but also how does it end up really supporting residents and families? And so your comment, you're sharing, Heather, really made me think about this example. And I was like, oh, I have to share what a simple process I had, but the outcome I never anticipated in a million years. And I think that's where a lot of value with embracing and adopting technology can come from, is what do we get to impact and how do we get to impact?
Yeah, and I want to piggyback on that in regards to a comment that I think it was Daylin submitted a little while ago about, using technology to address the pain points. There you go. Relieve the pain points that your staff is encountering, whether it's routine paperwork or follow-up checks, or or even just deliveries, for instance. So I think that is a great starting point when you're thinking about implementing technology. How is this going to benefit and reinforce your staff as well?
So reinforcing to our staff that they are supported and doing their job to the best of their ability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to take whatever measure, and we're going to go to many lengths, extensive lengths, to make that happen for them, whether it's training, whether it's finding the right technology, whether it's, even in the care industry, right? Like in the care sector of what we do, how can we best support very person-centered approaches and interventions to help supply that. So is that answering your question, Abbie?
Yeah, yes, it does. It really does. Thank you. Thank you. And well, gals, as we wrap up here today, is there anything else you wanted to mention, Kelly, about Evolve? Because I would love to know if there's an Engaged Life director who's attending Evolve and wants to implement new technology, would that be a good support system for that Engaged Life director?
Of course. I'm going to, of course, say yes.
Yeah.
I think one of the most powerful observations that came out of Evolve last year was to see the connection between attendees. We had a live chat going during each day, and to be able to see people sharing in the chat and then connecting on similar challenges, hurdles, ideas. I mean, it was so awesome to observe that people aren't alone, that
Yeah.
you have colleagues and peers across this collective space who may be going through very similar things to you, but maybe you work in a community and you don't know another person doing your type of job, even in your local market, or you don't know how to meet them per se. And so for us, it was so cool to see people say, oh my gosh, you only have a half hour for me? Let's meet in the middle and have lunch and we can talk about this. And so I think there's power in numbers, there's power in support. And so I do think when we have Evolve going on, people being able to connect with others that are just as passionate as they are about their roles in this space, most certainly is of value. And then the other thing that we are aiming to provide through Evolve are some easy, tangible takeaways that anybody can go back and put into action at their communities. That is one of the objectives of Evolve this year, is to have each speaker or group of speakers for each topic be able to share with our audience, here's 2 or 3 things you can go back and do at your community or organization right away, no cost, low cost, kind of goes with our no tech, low tech, high tech, that anybody could go back and implement, because we have done a lot of amazing thought leadership over the last 3 years.
Mhm.
Now we have to start to take a lot of this thought leadership and put it into action. And how do we do that? We not only speak to these ideas and concepts and approaches, we also need to give tangible, actionable steps that people can take and go back and do.
I love that. I love that. Tangible, actionable steps. That's exactly what a lot of us need these days. Thank you so much. And as we wrap up, how can someone get in contact with you, Heather?
Yeah, connect with me on socials, Facebook, LinkedIn, Heather Easterling. Yeah, so check out the chat, connect with me there. Would be glad to.
Wonderful. And Kelly, how about you?
Oh, I'm on LinkedIn like a crazy person some days. You can also find me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. But always trying to promote self-care across our space, because we all need to also be paying attention to how we care for ourselves so we can go out and care for others.
Absolutely, 100%. Well, I want to thank our guests today, Heather and Kelly, as well as the folks that participated in the chat. I love the chat, by the way, so I want to thank you for that. That brings so much energy, like Kelly said, and connection. So I want to thank you for that. We will go ahead and post this later today, and then I'll broadcast it again tomorrow. And thank you. Thank you for changing the lives of people who are engaged in senior living. You're doing it. You're doing it every single day. Thank you. And with that, we'll see you back here next week.